Why are people bad? In 2007, Sam Raimi released what would be one of his most anticipated movies in Spider-Man 3. After the success of the previous two, both critically and financially, many of the audience members were expecting a trifecta. 3 great Spider-Man movies and thus completing a trilogy that would go down as one of the best. But the reception critically wasn't what many studio heads were expecting. A mixed bag of disappointment and an underwhelming view of Spider-Man 3 ultimately killed a 4th movie. And even now, people's perception of the 3rd installment is still negative. Many complain about a clunky story with too many villains. All that is true. This movie suffers because it tries to add 3 main villains who all have a story arc that must be resolved, and in the end only one got a true ending. But Spider-Man 3 is not all trash, and this was the first time I seen this movie in what feels like decades. So it was like I was going in blind all over again. No pressure from the previous 2 movies, and I had a basic understanding that this movie was not well received. And I like it. I think it's charming at times, heartwarming and really funny. Not better than the previous 2, but still a movie that I can respect. Because what this movie tries to do is answer the question, why are people bad? And all 3 of our villains, Harry Osborn, Eddie Brock and Flint Marko, come up with some kind of answer. Doing bad things does not necessarily make you a bad person. Look, I understand there are crimes that are unforgivable and make people more than evil. And I'm not saying that we should forgive everyone who has done something bad, because life doesn't work that way. But what this movie shows us is that when a crime is committed, when people go bad, it is often down to their circumstances that drive them towards their criminal acts, sometimes out of desperation or even fear. When the circumstances around you become so unhealthy from your living conditions and your mental well-being, then you become more targeted for crime. Because all you want to do is escape this position of poverty. And in most cases, it is poverty that drives people to steal and commit crimes because they feel that this is the only way to escape. Join a gang and you feel part of a twisted family that protects you, but only if you do what they say. It is unfair, and many young people go through that, and that itself cannot be underestimated, and why a lot of people fall into a criminal lifestyle. My use of crime is very broad because anything illegal is a crime, but there is a separation we have to make. There is a scale of crimes that are pure evil to ones that are petty. What I'm talking about is crimes committed by those that felt forced into that world, that had no way out and went down a spiral that led them to committing criminal acts. And I understand it is hard to empathize with essentially criminals, especially if you have been affected by someone's criminal actions. I haven't, and I'm very lucky to have not been, so my view is not through the perspective of someone who has witnessed a crime firsthand. So I can be more empathetic, but I can honestly understand anyone who cannot, because depending on the criminal actions, it can be life-changing and scarring. And again, I have to emphasize that there are actions that are pure evil with no other excuses. But through the lens of Spider-Man 3, we can understand why someone would go down a path of crime. And obviously the best example of that is Marko Flint, the Sandman, a character that killed Uncle Ben. It was by accident, but his actions to steal his car led him to that, so he has to be blamed and charged for what he did. That is only right. But to just throw the book at him and let him rot in prison isn't what will prevent another crime like that happening again. The core of Marko Flint stealing was because he needed money for his daughter's medical bills and medicine.
Promise, we'll make you healthy again. Whatever it takes, I'll get the money.
He felt desperate and thought his only way to get the money was to steal it. His love for his daughter was so much that he was willing to commit multiple crimes to help her get better, even if that meant he would never see her again. Driven by anger that the medicine for his daughter was too expensive, Sandman took another life to try and save his daughters. Peter feared that the Sandman would do the same thing again, and he himself wanted to kill him, and for a while he believed that he did kill him and became proud of that fact.
I thought that you'd feel he deserved it, didn't he?
Both of them at that moment were murderers. But yet we celebrate one as a hero and the other as a villain. But as Aunt May says,
I don't think it's for us to say whether a person deserves to live or die.
a crime is a crime and should be punished as one, but that doesn't mean we cannot accept forgiveness and to make sure that the ones committing the crime understands they're wrong and through education learns to be better.
I'm not asking you to forgive me. I just want you to understand.
To have a support system in place for them so that they never go back to that world. Harry Osborn had a support system through his butler.
I loved your father as I have loved you, Harry. As your friends love you.
And came to terms that what he was doing was wrong, and through that became a hero by helping Spider-Man. The only one that failed to have a support system was Eddie Brock. He lost his job and his girlfriend, and because of that he became angry at the world, or more specifically at Peter. A desperation and anger that led him down a path of wanting to kill, but he is an example of someone that understands what they are doing is wrong and does not want to learn and change.
I like being bad. It makes me happy.
And because of that, he jumps back in to try and save Venom, but ultimately lost his life. Eddie Brock, through terrible self-conflicting scenarios, found himself being bad, but never wanted to change after the fact, and that is when being bad goes too far, when not even education or forgiveness can help, and that is life. Through the lens of Spider-Man 3, we learn that committing crimes doesn't always make you bad, that if you learn and grow, then you can one day ask for forgiveness.
I forgive you.
But to accept forgiveness is a decision only you can decide on, because there is no right answer, no moral ground. Each scenario is different to each individual. Even though Spider-Man 3 is not the best movie out there, and even though it was panned by critics, I do believe it continues a story from the previous two. If Spider-Man 1 was about the power of being good, Spider-Man 2 about the mental struggle of being a hero, then Spider-Man 3 focuses on the other side. Why people go bad.